Hello, so my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is all about the new Amy Winehouse film, Back to Black, and how astrology reveals our fates and destiny in our life. So my aim is that this video and blog will reveal how astrology can be so useful when it reveals the fates we have to work with in our life. I actually watched the Back to Black film or movie, I think it was Monday night, and I thought it was very good. But I then looked at Amy Winehouse's astrology, and I was so struck how clearly her Vedic and her Western astrology revealed the fate and destiny the audience watched unfold over her life. So do watch the film. It reveals Amy as a funny, seductive, intensely musical, even crazy woman. And it also reveals her as almost cursed by particular karmic destiny, which she did not identify or understand or do any spiritual work with. She left £4.7 million after her death, but was it worth it? So what I'll do now is reveal to you how the combination of both Vedic astrology with Western astrology, which I do, reveals the karmas in Amy Winehouse's life that she was so clearly born with and that actually unfolded, and how she worked on them, or rather, very sadly, failed to do so. So I do feel it's the best of East and West that I'm offering, and it's very worth having. I always combine Vedic astrology with Western astrology in all the readings I give and in all the many courses I teach. And you can enroll for a reading on my Starwheel astrology website, which also lists the courses I offer, all of which combine Vedic and Western astrology, and also see my Love Star dating website. It's a international dating site for those on a spiritual pathway, with a panel of supportive astrologers and healers. And, my personal offering is indeed the combination of Vedic and Western astrology to you. So, Amy Winehouse was born on the 14th of September 1983. So let's look at her Vedic astrology first, using the sidereal zodiac. Well, the thing that first caught my eye is Amy Winehouse's birth dasha, the predictive period or dasha that was running at the time of her birth. And my goodness, we see that she was born into Ketu Rahu period, South Node, North Node period. Always a difficult period for little ones to have to start with in this life, and totally fated. I know this because I myself moved into Ketu period when I was 4 weeks old, and on that very day I was put in a convent orphanage. So something about the start in her life was hugely fated. So let's look at her nodal axis. Ketu South Node at the one end, Rahu North Node at the other. So in each of our lives, we come in with karmas and fates from our past life and ancestry, and some of those karmas stretch back thousands of years. And in each of our lives, we are each one of us thrown across our birth chart from where Ketu is towards where Rahu, the north node, is, always opposite. And that axis, the nodal axis, states the life purpose direction that we have for this life. So we have to come in where Ketu is, and we're thrown across as a destiny and fate to where Rahu North Node is. And Rahu is always so driven and billowing and obsessional in his nature. So we humans always have to purify our Rahu's nature if we're ever to reach our karmic life destination and fulfillment in this life. Now we see from her Vedic chart that Amy Winehouse had her Ketu South Node in the 7th house of marriage. So she came into this life with issues and karmas from past life, and indeed to do with sex because she has the Mars-Venus combination. And her Ketu in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars, says that Mars issues were very powerful in her last life or lives. Indeed, Ketu in Scorpio can reveal a past life where a downward path was trodden and must be redeemed by overcoming resentment that drove that Scorpio past life. And lust and greed must become love and giving. So that's the sort of destiny she's shown to have been born with by her Vedic birth chart. And actually, Amy has Mars conjunct Venus in her birth chart. And a very special thing to note, Amy's Venus is actually in the Gandanta zone at the end of the Vedic sign of Cancer. Now the 3 Gandanta zones are zones of immateriality and unsupportedness in this world, where water sign transitions from fire sign. And Amy's Venus is deep in the Gandanta at 29 degrees 24 Cancer. Now planets, when they're in the Gandanta zone, make us feel very unsupported by this world in the life area of that planet. But handled properly, those Gandanta planet placements can actually be a gateway to us achieving divine realization. Of yes, feeling this world is immaterial, but going through that void into the divine realm beyond and spiritual enlightenments. So this is very much in line with Hindu and Tibetan Buddhist tantric perceptions that this world has a huge unrealness. Yes, it's very important. We're here to burn our negative karmas and progress our positive fate and destiny, but it's not the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is the divine realm beyond this world. I mean, I have my moon in the Pisces Aries Gandanta. And when I read the Vedic astrology statement when I read the Vedic astrology statement that to have moon deep in the Gandanta means that mother will not be there for you. When I saw that one sentence of Vedic astrology for the first time, well, it told the whole of my life path and destiny in one sentence. And Western astrology knows nothing of the Gandanta zones. So 28 years ago, I added Vedic astrology to my Western astrology. And now I always combine the two. Both are needed. Vedic astrology is a statement of our sort of fates and destiny and life purpose, essentially, whereas Western astrology is essentially a statement of our psychological self, our egoic personality, and we need to understand both. Right. And by the way, if you want to look at her charts, I'm actually going to publish them in my April 2024 monthly page. In my Starwheel Astrology website, I have a more drop down and it says monthly astrology charts, and then you go over to the relevant month, in this case April. So let's now go on and find out more about Amy Winehouse's very difficult destiny. So the next thing is that Venus is her Atmakaraka planet. And we also see that Amy's Venus, therefore, as Atmakaraka planet, is the planet she was born to get right in this life. A planet becomes our Atmakaraka planet because we got it so wrong in the past life. So Venus was, in a sense, yes, her prime destiny issue for this life, getting right sex, love, art, music and beauty. But we also see that she was given a destiny direction, which is to move towards Rahu North Node like any one of us humans. And in her case, Rahu North Node is in Taurus, which is ruled by, yes, Venus. Venus, her Atmakaraka planet. And it's in the first house of self-assertion. So that states her karmic destiny according to the nodes and her Atmakaraka Venus. But if you know about things, you'll realise that to have Rahu in the first house makes you want to experience every shade of life. It makes you me first. It makes you selfish and ambitious and blind to the effects of your actions. You feel driven to impose your mark on the world until you learn some spiritual insights. And this will be a reaction to where Ketu is, because whatever went on in past life, in Amy's case, was very marriage-centred, sex-centred, relationship-focused. There might have been codependence. So, with her Rahu in the Venus-ruled sign like Taurus, this makes us absolutely driven for sex, music, beauty, art and wealth. But it's also important to note that Vedic astrology reveals that Amy's Venus is very harmed. So note that according to Rashi Avashtas, the statement of how our planets treat each other, Amy's moon treats her Venus terribly. Amy's moon reduces Amy's Venus from a raw strength of 453 strength points to minus 80 strength points, making Venus her most damaged planet in the chart. And of course she knew nothing of that. So moon in this configuration of moon-starving Venus causes Venus to demand that all needs be met through relationships, and the relationship become all focused on the person with the moon-starving Venus. Moon-starving Venus makes the relationship all about me and my needs. So the person is too self-centered for relationship unless he or she can hear that and heal that. Nevertheless, Amy's Atmakaraka Venus, that rules the sign where her destiny direction, North Node in Taurus is, brought her great fated success. So Amy was in Venus Ketu predictive period, Venus Ketu Dasha, from 2005 to 2007, when her huge success was so extensive, and continuing into the next period, Sun from 2007 to 2013. And of course that included the time of her death on the 23rd of July 2011. But in the run-up to her death at only age 27, her success was vast and extensive. Black to Black album was released on the 30th of October 2006. It went to #1 and became the best-selling album in the UK of 2007. Her release Rehab reached the top 10 in the USA. But Amy died on the 23rd of July 2011 from alcohol poisoning following a period of sobriety. Yes, in Sun Mercury period. And Sun Mercury are actually the two planets that are square her nodal axis. That means they were a misstep in previous life. I'll be coming to that. But before we get to that, I want to make the point that Amy has Kal Sarpa Yoga in her chart. Kal Sarpa Yoga is when all the Vedic planets are to one side of the nodal axis. Kal Sarpa Yoga makes the person sense very fraught, divided areas that they are born into as a little one, and that they probably experience in the womb. Kal Sarpa Yoga makes the person sensationalist and driven so often, unless of course they perceive their fate and destiny and start to heal it. Now, if you look at Amy's Vedic birth chart in the April monthly page, you'll see that Kal Sarpa Yoga is technically modified in that her moon is just outside the nodal axis. But it's still Kal Sarpa Yoga. One doesn't want to be formulaic because her moon is still within Ketu South Node energy field, which is not at all a good sign for mothering. And incidentally, her moon is also conjunct Neptune, which can be a case of drink, drugs and delusion, and great lack of clarity as to mothering issues. And fascinatingly, Neptune is conjunct Ketu South Node of the moon, which negatively can be quite destabilizing and surreal, although positively it can give great intuitiveness. Okay, so now let's look at Amy's Western astrology for a bit. The big thing from Western astrology is that Amy has a missed step. Two of her planets, Sun and Mercury, are in conjunction, square her nodal axis. So it's a very clear issue in her destiny. Her Sun and Mercury are square the nodes. So Sun and Mercury are square Ketu and square Rahu North Node. Now in Western evolutionary astrology, when a planet is square the nodal axis, it's defined as a missed step. It's defined as something that we got very wrong in past life, or very incomplete. And so it becomes of crucial importance to learn the nature of the planets that are square the nodal axis. In this life. Now, Sun conjunct Mercury, let's look at those a little bit, is very communication orientated, obviously ideal for a singer, but can be rather self-orientated as Mercury is too close to the Sun, as in Amy's case. However, Sun in Leo radiates a brilliance, if not a bossiness as well, sparkling and regal. And Mercury here, conjunct the Sun, makes the person very demonstrative, conversationalist, and fond of company. And I saw all those huge characteristics in the film Back to Black. Now, Amy's sun, and incidentally her Saturn, in terms of planetary strength in Vedic astrology, are Jagrat, the most wide awake possible of planets. And another important note from Amy's Vedic astrology is that both her planets square the nodal axis, and therefore missed step, are in Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra. Now the Nakshatras are the wonderful 27 sign lunar zodiac of Vedic astrology, each of which says something supremely wonderful about our psychological self, in a sense, our emotionally based self. And Uttara Phalguni is actually the 12th of those 27 nakshatras, and it's ruled by the sun. So that gives it a potential for being sharp or cruel. And their power animal, Uttara Phalgunis, is the bull. And their caste is Kshatriya, the warrior. So negatively, they can be cruel and sharp, self-aggrandizing, and even megalomaniac. It's fascinating how it's all there when you combine Western and Vedic astrology. It's so much what I saw in Back to Black, the very good film. Okay, a crucial point from Western astrology is that Amy has Black Moon Lilith opposition her natal Mars, where the opposition is to the exact degree. Lilith is so crucial to know about it, and of course Vedic astrology knows nothing of that. Lilith is the material stuffed down into our unconscious, into our shadow side. We humans don't know that